Hi everyone. It's a beautiful day here today. You got the sun shining through. It's been raining, but it's a nice cool day, and I've got the fire going, so it's very lovely looking at the window at the moment into the back garden. Today, what I'm going to talk about is about judgment and judging others. Now, you may have heard this if you're a Christian person, because I think Jesus said that about you'll be judged as you judge others. And when I read that passage in the Bible years ago, I'm not a religious person, but when I did read that, I initially it conjures up this idea of a God that's judging you, but I don't think that's really what it means. And this is what I'm going to talk about. What I realised was thinking about this again, probably just through taking little bits of LSD and that, just contemplating my mind and brain, it just came to me that the problem with judging others is that it creates the problem on yourself. So by judging others, you will start to judge yourself. And now what I mean by that is that if I start judging somebody, and it's coming from a thought program in my mind, so probably coming from the subconscious mind, from my understanding of looking at how the brain has worked. So if this program's running in your mind and it's projecting it out onto others, then you're also internalizing the same judgment system on yourself. How you see perhaps others are judging you. And look, there may be some truth in that at times, and because people judge everybody. I mean, I've certainly done that a lot, and I'm probably sure I do at times still now. But the thing is, I try to pull myself out of that now. So if I judge somebody based on their clothing, or the car they're driving, or where they live, the house, anything to do with the way they look, just on those sort of very surface and superficial type things, well, I mean, it's not very good anyway to be judging other people, because you don't really know their story, and looking at what someone's wearing is not really going to tell you anything accurately. It's a judgment call. I've over the years I've worked in architecture. I've met some people who are very, very wealthy, and looking at them, you wouldn't think that at all. I remember one guy had literally tens of millions of dollars, and he looked like just some old farmer. Drove around a really old, beaten up type 1970s type car, and just wore like flannelette shirts. And so people may have looked at him and judged him and said, "Oh, look at him. He's might not think necessarily anything bad. Wouldn't have maybe thought he had money. Just assume that just by the way he was dressed." But I mean, not that those things matter. But my point is that what happens is that by doing that, we create this dialogue in ourselves. So the idea that what I was saying before about when Jesus said, "You'll be judged as you judge others," it's not some God doing it. It's you. You're doing it to yourself. So that's why it's really important to realize what you're doing and to try and break that in every attempt you have to try and break the way of thinking. And I can't recall who wrote this, but I've read this before, and I've seen it multiple times now through many different areas, that this idea that you become what you think about. And I think that's very, very true. So if you're focusing, I mean, essentially it comes in the focus too. If you're focusing on the negative aspects, I mean, and judgment generally, value judgment at least is a very negative thing a lot of the time. So if you're focusing on the negativity of something or somebody, or how you perceive them, when you really don't know anything anyway, well, that's going to affect you. That's affecting your way of thinking anyway. So it might not even just be in judgment, but if your mind has been learnt to just focus on negativities and look out for those, then that's what you're going to sort of create in your life. You're always just going to be looking for those things. And you see that with people. They've got nothing, some people have nothing good to say about anything. And I know that some people might be thinking, well, some people have crappy lives. Well, it's going back to this idea of a lot of different philosophies, and even the Stoic philosophy of that, your mind is what makes something good or bad, basically. It's how you think about it. It's your thoughts. So, like I lost $130 about a week and a half ago. And at first I was like, well, it's not great, obviously, because it's not, it's still, it's a reasonable amount of money for me at least. And I thought, well, so, it's gone. I did what I could to try and get it back, but it was gone. So rather than looking at the loss, I looked at the opportunity in what could be positive about this. And I started thinking of different things. And the first thing that came to mind was I was able to practice what I've been harping on about for a long time now, about, and it comes from the Buddhist idea that your suffering comes from attachment. So the longer I attach myself to the money, I mean, it's gone anyway, and refuse to accept the reality of that, well, I'm just going to make myself suffer. So I was able to just practice that and think, well, it's gone, and just let it go. And I'll tell you, it was a really positive that came out of that loss. And I mean, probably other aspects too, which I can't recall now, but I was thinking about a few. Now, I'm starting to get a little bit off track here, but the idea is that if I say judge somebody on what they're wearing, and for whatever reason, well, I'm likely to sort of do that to myself to some degree, that I'm going to be worried about other people judging me. And yes, it does happen. I mean, people are going to judge you whether you like it or not. And whether you judge other people or not, they're going to still judge you. But the thing is, if you're thinking about that in terms of if your focus is always on judging others, then you're going to realize that as a reality, and you're going to be focused on that. But if you don't think about that, if you don't judge other people, if you just go about your day just enjoying things and sending out love to people and just focusing on good positive things, well, it's not really part of your dialogue. It's not that you're naive to the fact of what goes on. It's just that it's not a running program in your own subconscious mind. It's not something that you're working from. And it's important because it probably affects other aspects of your life too, just from this idea of judging. But the thing is, it's the internal side of it that comes back. It's the dialogue, it's the program that's running out of the subconscious that it does this. So the way to sort of get around this is, number one, is you've got to identify what's going on in your own mind. So think to yourself, do you ever do that? Do you ever judge anyone by material things? Now, whilst I'm talking about judgment, I want to touch on this. Seems to be two aspects of judgment. There seems to be a value judgment, which I'm talking about, but there's also an objective judgment. So in that sense, not all judgment is bad. So being objectively judgmental might be you have some facts or at least some experience with a situation, and you might think, okay, those people over there look a little bit dangerous, or to stay away. Now, you could still say that's a value judgment, but you're not necessarily placing any value on them as people. You're just sort of saying, I think that situation over there could be potentially, not great. So, maybe that's not the best example, but it's, hopefully I'm getting the idea across there that not all judgment's bad. I mean, you use judgment quite a lot in your day-to-day. What I'm talking about is the unhealthy sort of patterns that we create and project onto others in a very negative way. But by doing so, we're recreating and reaffirming that particular way of thinking in our own minds, which is not helpful, because it does it. We will turn it on ourselves, because we will think, well, if other people are doing it, or if I do it, other people will be doing it to me, and then you'll be focused on it, and who knows, you might get anxious about it, you might get paranoid about it, and it could, as I said, spill over into other ways of thinking anyway, which is not what you want. And the reason it's very important that you try and get a hold on our thoughts is, again, another thing that I read somewhere about, for instance, sour thoughts create a sour face, or sour faces come from sour thoughts, something like that. And I think that's very, very true. And that's why, you'll find this through an awful lot of philosophies and spiritual things and all sorts of stuff, that this idea of the mind, about focusing the mind on positive stuff. It's very true. I've noticed that over my life since I've started to do that more and more. Just how much more content I feel, and I'm absolutely surprised by it, to be honest. I tell people all the time, I can't believe how calm I am. And it's not to say that I don't still get angry or things like that, but it's more or less, as soon as I feel those things, identify it for what it is, accept it, and then let's move on. I don't know, it's just something, it's taken me a lot of practice, and again, I'm still practicing with it, and that's what I'm sort of encouraging other people to do, is we've got to get our minds right, we've got to get it thinking in a clear, positive way. And ways that aren't helpful and create this negative dialogue in our minds, or this program, is literally TV programs. I mean, obviously not all of them, but a lot of it, whether it's the adverts or the things that they show you in magazines or anything. A lot of that media that's out there creates this narrative in our own minds, and if we just keep feeding it into ourselves, it's like eating just terrible food all the time, and it really affects us. It affects our programming, the way we think. And this is why it's very, very important to be careful what you watch or listen to or read. I mean, obviously, sometimes you need to read things that aren't particularly uplifting, just for various reasons. But the point is that if you just sit and consume, day after day, so much negativity, it's going to rub off on you as well, and it's not going to make your life feel good. And I know we could get into conspiracy theories if we wanted about why that is, because I know some people talk about a lot of TV and media is the way it is, not just because it attracts people, but it's a way to sort of keep people in a state of anxiety and fear, and just towing the line with the way society goes. But I'm not saying that that's the way it is. But look, I'm not saying it isn't either. But but it certainly does have that effect, and that's why we need to be very, very careful. And just touching on that idea now too is the idea of meditation that I was thinking about the other day about how important it is to meditate daily, because especially if you're around a lot of people on a daily basis, and often there's a whole lot of negativity around in the world, is that the only way to really protect yourself if you're surrounded by it constantly is to spend some time in meditation. And that is definitely one big aspect of it. And the other thing I encourage people to do, which is what I do daily, is spend some time in silence throughout the day. But then when I do put things on to listen to, I just listen to good things, uplifting things, positive things to think about, things that are improve my life, my way of thinking, my relationships with people, just my attitude towards the world. I just focus on those things. And it's not about stuffing my feelings down. I still have feelings, as I said before. I still can feel hurt or sad and things like that, or anger. But they go very quickly usually, and they're not intense like they may have been in the past. And it's only getting better over time. And I really encourage people to do that, to start to just focus on the positive as much as you possibly can, and get really curious about yourself too. About why did I think like this? Why am I judging this person? Why am I worried about that? I mean, I find that a very helpful thing to do myself is in every aspect of my life, that when I notice a pattern that's not particularly helpful, is to get curious about it. Where did this come from? Why do I think it? What's it really about? Really start to dig really deep. And as I said, I've used small amounts of LSD to do this over time, which has helped me tremendously to really delve into my own mind, to find some contentment and peace really from a lot of the crazy stuff that goes on in there. But I'm probably going to leave this video here, but I just wanted to talk about that aspect, and it's something I was thinking about when I was driving around the lake the other day. It just came to me, and I pulled over and wrote it down, just to think about the whole idea of judgment, and how as we do judge others, it affects us. I mean, it really does. So I'll leave the video here. Until next time, I hope you have a good night or a good day wherever you are.